Hello everyone, welcome to Coding with Ivan. So in today's video, we're going to make this Android application which will show us the match fixture of the upcoming FIFA Football World Cup 2022. So here is the app that I've already made, and as you can see, it shows the fixture of the World Cup matches like the home country name with flag, the away country name flag, the time and date of the match, and the match title, and with the uh, season name. Okay, so this is the app and we're going to make this today. So let's get started. But before that, I want to share you guys something. So those who follow me on my social media, you already know that Coding with Ivan is now collaborating with geeksforgeeks.org. So with that, we are bringing a giveaway contest. So those who will participate on this giveaway contest will get this amazing Google SD preparation course for absolutely free. So we'll pick 3 lucky winners who will get this Google SD preparation course for free. So make sure you participate on this giveaway. And in order to participate in this giveaway, you just have to uh, comment down your name and your email ID in this comment section. And after a week, I'll choose 3 lucky winners from there and I'll contact with them through the email ID. Okay, so make sure you comment down your name with your email ID. All right, and also anyone can get 10% discount from Geeks for Geeks on any purchase. Like if you want to purchase any course from Geeks for Geeks, then while purchasing you can use my coupon code Ivan10 and you will get instant 10% discount. So you have to just write the coupon Ivan10 and click on apply, and you will get your 10% discount right here. All right, so make sure you participate on our giveaway contest and get your free Google SD preparation course. Okay, so now let's quickly start our tutorial. So here at first, as you can see, I have already opened a new project called the FIFA Fixture, and we have the main activity only here. So now we'll start our coding, and to get the data or get the match fixture data, we're going to use an API. So the API is right here. It's called the Elena Sports API. So I'll give the link of this API in the description. From there you can visit there, and here you will find the API endpoints, the documentation, and some code snippets. So this API is free for some limited usage. So at first, when you will open this link, you have to just log in with your email ID, and then you have to go to this pricing section and you have to just enable this basic version. All right, so once you have done that, you have to get back to this endpoint section, and from here you can use the API key that they will provide right here. Okay, so here as you can see we have lots of endpoints. You can basically make a full-fledged soccer application or football application, whatever you say. uh, we'll also make the full soccer application maybe later someday, but in today's video we're going to make only the application to show the FIFA World Cup fixture. So for this we have to use the endpoints under this package called Fixture. Okay, so I'll expand this Fixture package, and here we have to use the endpoint called get fixtures by season ID. Okay, so click on this fixtures by season ID and it will show us some example code for the for calling the API. And as you can see here we have the method, the URL, the parameters, and the headers. So for the better understanding, at first we'll call our API in the Postman and then we'll implement this on our Android application. Okay, so I'm going to open Postman here in my PC. So if you don't have Postman in your PC, don't worry, I'll give the download link of Postman in the video description, and from there you can easily download and install that. So after opening the Postman, we'll create a new request here, and here we'll paste our URL. So for the URL, I'll go back to API documentation and make sure you have selected this fixtures by season ID, and then we'll copy the URL from here. I'll copy the whole URL from here, copy this and get back to Postman, and here I'll paste our URL. Okay, And as you can see, our request method is get, so I'll keep the request method as get here. Okay, and then we have to add the headers. Okay, so for the headers we can easily copy the key from here. So I'll copy that, go to Postman, and here I'll go inside this header section, and here inside this key I'll paste the key that I just copied, and then get back to the documentation again, and I'll use this API key. Okay, so don't use my API key because it might not work on your PC. To get your own API key, you have to just get on this pricing section and subscribe to this API for free. Okay, so I'll copy this API key and then I'll paste it right here under the value section. And similarly, I'll add another header that's required here. So I'll copy this, paste it here, and then for the value, I'll copy the value and I'll paste it right here. Okay, so now we have added all the required fields. So I'm going back to the Postman, and now as you can see, this part of the URL is mainly the season ID. Okay, and as in today's video we're going to make this application to show only the fixture of the FIFA 2022 World Cup. So I have started this API documentation. Okay, and here I have found that the um, season ID for the FIFA 2022 World Cup is 1331. Okay, so we'll add that in our uh, ID section right here. Okay, so here I'll just remove this part of the URL, and here I'll write 1331. This is the ID for the FIFA World Cup, and then I'll click on send here, and let's see if it works or not. So here as you can see, we have got a success response, and here is the data. Okay, so here is all the data for the World Cup 2022 Qatar. Okay, so our API is working fine, and now let's implement this on our Android application. So I'll go to the Android Studio. Okay, so here I have already opened the FIFA Fixture Android project with the main activity. So now we'll start our coding here, and for calling the API we are going to use the retrofit library. So we'll go to the GitHub repository of retrofit to get the dependency. So this is the dependency for retrofit. I'll copy that. I'll also give all the required links in the description. Make sure you check that. So after copying this, I'll get back to Android Studio, and I'll go to the Gradle scripts, and inside this build Gradle, I'll paste the dependency right under these dependencies. So here at first I'll write implementation. Okay, and then inside the quotation I'll paste the dependency. So this is the dependency for retrofit, and now we need another dependency for the JSON converter. So for this I'll go to the repository of retrofit JSON converter. I'll also give the link in the description. So from here I'll copy this dependency, and I'll get back to Android Studio, and then I'll paste it right under this, and I'll just replace this latest version with this 2.9.0 or whatever it is in your case. So I'll copy this and I'll paste it here. Okay, and to show the flag images of the countries we're going to use Picasso. So here is the GitHub repository of Picasso. The link will be also in the description. From there we have to copy this dependency, get back to Android Studio, and then we'll paste it right here. Okay, so after adding these three dependencies, I'll click on sync now, and let's wait for this Gradle build. Alright, so our Gradle has been synced successfully. So now we can start our coding. So to call the API, I'll create another separate class. So I'll create a separate package at first. I'll call this as manager, and inside this manager, I'll create a new uh, Java class. I'll call this as request manager. Okay, and inside this request manager class, I'll take a object of context. Okay, and then I'll create a retrofit object. So I'll call the retrofit. I'll name its object as retrofit equals retrofit.builder. Sorry, new retrofit.builder. Okay, and then I'll add the base URL of this. So for the base URL, let's go to Postman here, and we'll select till this rapidap.com slash. Make sure you include this slash from here. So I'll copy this, get back to Android Studio, and here I'll paste that. And after that, I'll add the JSON converter factory. So I'll write add converter factory, and here I'll call the JSON converter factory dot create. Okay, and then we'll build our retrofit. Let's put a semicolon at the end, and after that we have to create a constructor. So for this, I'll just right click on this empty space, click on generate, click on constructor, and I'll only select the context. Don't select the retrofit from here. So select context and click on OK. So here we have this constructor. So now we have to create some methods to fetch the data from the API. So at first we'll create a new interface here. So for the interface, I'll create a new private interface, and I'll name this as call fixture. Okay, and here inside the body of this interface, I'm going to create a new call method. I'll call this as call for. Okay, we have to create a class for the response object. So for this, I'll create another separate package here. I'll call this as models. Okay, and inside here we'll create all our necessary classes. So if we go back to Postman here, as you can see, this is the response JSON. So here we have a list which contains this JSON object. Okay, so if we just minimize this data JSON, we have also some other JSON objects called the pagination, the pages, and etc. Okay, so in order to create a Java class from this JSON, we can do that manually, or we can also use some online tools. And for this, I'll use a web tool called JSON to C#.com, and here we have to select this JSON to Java converter right here. I'll give the link of this in the description also. Okay, so here we have to paste the JSON, and that will generate us the required Java classes for that. So we have to just copy this whole JSON from here. I'll copy that. Okay, and then I'll get back to the website json to c#.com, and here I'll paste that. Okay, and then we'll click on convert. So that will generate us the Java class. Okay, so here at first we have to focus on the root class. So here we have array list of whatever it is, datum or something. So we want to use this name, but at first we'll copy these two objects from here. We'll copy them, and we'll go back to our Android Studio. Okay, so here at first inside the models, we'll create a new Java class. I'll name this as, let's say, fixture response. Okay, and then inside here we'll paste the two objects that we just copied. Okay, the array list of datum. Okay, we won't use this name, we'll create a separate class for that. So here I'll create a new Java class. I'll call this as fixture data. Sorry, fixture data. Okay, so inside this fixture data, if we go to the um, website, we have to copy all the objects inside this datum. Okay, so I'll copy all the objects. Okay, I'll copy all of them, and I'll get back to the Android Studio, and here inside that I'll paste it. Okay, and then if we go back to the fixture response, here instead of datum we'll pass the fixture data. All right, so it's okay, we have to just click alt enter. Okay, so that will import the array list. Okay, so here is our array list of fixture data, and now we have to create the class for pagination. Okay, so here inside the models I'll create another Java class. I'll call this as pagination with the same name. So under pagination, okay, create class. So inside the pagination we have to add the values which are available here inside the pagination class. So I'll copy these objects, and then I'll go back to Android Studio and I'll paste that inside this pagination class. And then if you go to the fixture response, as you can see, there is no such error. Okay, so our model classes are now ready. And one thing you can notice is that all our objects here inside the fixture response or inside the fixtures, all are here is public, so we can access them directly from the code anywhere. So if you are using private objects, then you have to add getter setter methods, but in my case I have public objects. Okay, so now we can go back to our request manager.java here, and here inside the call methods parameter we have to pass the fixture response because we are calling this API for the fixture response JSON. Okay, so I'll write here the fixture response. Okay, and I'll name this method as, let's say, call fixture. Okay, call fixtures. And here for the parameters we have to pass the ID of the season. Okay, so for this here I'll write a new path annotation because we will pass our season ID with the path. Okay, so that's why I'm writing here path. So I'll write the path annotation, and here I'll call this as the ID, and for the variable I'll pass a new integer which is called ID. All right, and here at the end I'll put a semicolon here. And now for this call method we have to pass a endpoint. Okay, and also the endpoint is a get method, so I'll write a get annotation. Okay, and here in the parameter I'll pass the endpoint. So as you can see, we have already added the base URL here, so inside the endpoint we have to write the rest of the URL that's on our Postman. Okay, so we used previously this part of the URL, so now we'll start copying from v2, from v2 till the end. Okay, so I'll copy that, get back to Android Studio, and here I'll paste that. Okay, and here as we are making this app for only the FIFA World Cup fixture, we can directly keep this 1331. But if you want to make it dynamic, then you can easily replace this with the ID that will pass with the parameter. So I'll pass the ID inside a second bracket. Okay, so that will take care of the parameter. Okay, so this is the interface that we need, and now we'll create a method to call the API with this URL. Okay, so for this I'll create a new public method. I'll call this public, let's say, get fixture, and here sorry, the return type would be public void. Okay, so public void get fixture, and here for the parameter at first we'll pass a response listener and then we'll pass the ID. Okay, so let's quickly create the listener. So for this I'll create a new Java class here. I'll call this as let's say response listener, and that will be an interface. Okay, hit enter, the public interface response listener, and inside here we'll create two new methods. The first one will be a void uh, did fetch. Okay, and the first parameter of did fetch will be the fixture response. So we'll create a fixture response object, and the second one is a message which will be a string. So let's string message. Okay, and the second method is for the error. So I'll write void did error, and here we'll only pass the error message. So I'll write string message. Okay, so this is our interface. So now we'll go back to the request manager here, and here inside this get fixture, the first parameter will pass the response listener. So I'll write response listener. I'll call this as listener, and the second parameter is the ID which we need to pass to this call fixture interface. So I'll get a parameter integer ID. Okay, and then inside the method body we'll create a new object for this call fixture interface. So I'll write call fixture. I'll name this as call fixture equals retrofit dot create call fixture dot class. All right, so now we got the object of the call fixture with retrofit, and now we'll create a new call method with this interface. So for this I'll write a call method, and here for the parameter I'll pass the fixture response. I'll name this call method as call equals, we'll call this call fixture object from here. So call fixture dot call fixtures, which refers to this method, and here we have to pass the parameter ID. So for the ID I'll pass the ID from here. So I'll write ID. Okay, and after that we have to just enqueue this call. So I'll write call dot enqueue equal, in the parameter we'll pass a new callback listener. So I'll write new callback of fixture response. So it will override the on response and on failure method from the callback. Okay, so we'll get the proper response inside this on response method, and the failure or errors in this on failure method. So inside on response we'll at first check if our response is successful or not. So I'll write if response dot is successful, and before that I'll add a not, so that it checks if the response is not successful. So if it is not successful, in that case we'll call the listener dot did error, and here we'll pass the error message. Okay, so I'll write response dot message here. Okay, and from here we'll return from this on response method. Okay, so if the response is not successful, then it will come after or outside of this if block. So here I'll write conditions for the successful state. So if it is successful, then I'll write listener dot did fetch, and here we have to pass the fixture response. So from here I'll pass the response dot body, which is the fixture response. Okay, and after that we have to pass a message. So I'll write response dot message. So our on response method is now ready. So now we'll go into this on failure method, and here, as it's the on failure method, we'll call the listener dot did error, and here for the message we have to pass the message from this throwable. Okay, so I'll write t dot get message. All right, so we have created our method, so we can show that inside our main activity. We can call this method from our main activity. So I'll go to our main activity here, and here at first I'll design the UI, but before that let me clear all the unnecessary files from here. So I'll write close other tabs. Okay, so from here I'll go to the activity main.xml file. I'll go to the split view, and then I'll just remove this constraint layout, and I'll create a new linear layout. Okay, and I'll set its orientation to vertical. I'll remove this default text view, and here I'll create a new recycler view. I'll set it width to match parent and height to, let's say, wrap content here. Okay, I'll give this recycler view an ID. I'll call this as recycler underscore fixture. Okay, let's set its height to match parent this time. Okay, and I'll give this a margin of 8 dp, overall margin of 8 dp from all the four axes. Okay, and now we'll go to the main activity.java file here, and here we'll create a new object for our recycler view. So I'll write recycler view recycler view. Okay, and then we'll initialize this recycler view inside the onCreate method. So I'll write recycler view equals find view by id r.id dot, and here for the recycler view in the XML we have passed the id recycler fixture. So I'll copy this and I'll paste it right here. Okay, and also we have to create some more objects, like we have to create a object for the progress dialog. Okay, I'll call this as dialog, and then we need to also create an object of the request manager. So I'll write request manager here. I'll call this as manager, and then we'll go to the onCreate method here right after the initialization of recycler view. So here at first I'll set up the dialog. So I'll write dialog equals new progress dialog, and we have to pass a context in the parameter. So I'll pass this. Okay, then I'll set a title for this dialog. So I'll write dialog dot set title, and I'll show a message called loading. Okay, so dialog is now set up, and then we'll initialize the manager class. So I'll write manager equals new request manager, and here as you can see inside the request manager for the constructor we passed only the context. So I'll only pass the context here, this. All right, and right after that we can call our get fixture method. So I'll write manager dot get fixture, and here we have to pass two parameters. One is the listener for the response, and second one is the ID. So for the response listener, let's create a separate listener here. So I'll write here private final response listener. I'll call this as listener equals new response listener. Okay, and then at the end we'll put a semicolon. So this is the listener. So I pass the listener into the parameter, and for the second parameter, which is the ID of the season. So as I've told you earlier, for the FIFA World Cup the ID is 1331. So I'll just pass this. So now that we have called the get fixture method, it will start calling the API, and right after that we can show our dialog saying loading. So I'll write dialog dot show. Okay, so after calling this API the response will come through this listener, and we'll get that from here. So inside the did fetch, if the response is successful we'll get that. So here at first we'll dismiss our dialog. So I'll write dialog dot dismiss. Also for the error we'll dismiss our dialog. So I'll write dialog dot dismiss. Okay, so for the error, after dismissing the dialog we will just show the error message. So let's show that in a toast message. So let toast dot Okay, so it's auto completed. Those that make text, the context, the message. So for the message, I will pass the string message that's coming from this parameter. So I'll write here message. Okay, so everything is fine. And then inside the did fetch method, we have to populate this fixture response into our recycler view. And for that, we need a recycler adapter. So let's create a new adapter class. So here I'll create a new, let's create a package. I'll call this as adapter. And inside that, I'll create a new Java class called fixture adapter. Let's call this as fixture adapter. Hit enter. So this is our fixture adapter, and right after this class, we'll create another class for the view holder. So I'll write a class called, let's say, fixture view holder, fixture view holder. Okay, and here I'll make this fixture view holder class extends the recycler view dot view holder. Okay, so it's showing an error because it needs to create the constructor matching super. So let's click on this message. So here we got this constructor matching this super class. Okay, so here we can initialize all the views that we're going to use for this custom recycler view. So let's create a custom layout for that. So I'll go to the res folder. Inside the layouts, I'll create a separate layout resource file. I'll call this as list underscore fixture. Okay, hit enter. Let's go to the split view, and here I'll replace this constraint layout with card view. Okay, let me zoom in here a bit. All right, so here inside this card view tag, I'll set its width to match parent, and I'll change its height to wrap content here. Okay, and I'll also give this a layout margin of 8 dp here. I'll also set the card elevation to 8 dp. Okay, I'll also give this a padding of 8 dp. All right, and we can also set a custom color for this card's background. So let's create a separate color at first. So I'll go to the values inside the colors, and here let's keep the purple 700. Okay, so I'll create a new color here. Let's copy this one. Okay, and for the color name, I'll choose this as let's say purple. Okay, let's copy this purple 700 here. Okay, let's copy the purple 700 to all of them. Okay, all right, so now we'll get back to the list fixture, and here for the card background color, I'll pass card background color as the red color slash purple. Okay, and then inside this card view, as a card view can contain only one child, so I'll create a new linear layout here. I'll set its width to match parent, height to wrap content here, and I'll also set its orientation to vertical. Okay, let's close this linear layout, and inside that we're going to create some views to show the uh, home country, away country, the time, and the title of the match. Okay, so at first we'll show the text view for home country and away country alongside the time of the match. Okay, so for this here I'll create a new linear layout. I'll set its width to match parent here. Okay, I'll set it as match parent, and for the height I'll pass as wrap content here, and then for the orientation I'll pass this as horizontal. Okay, so we got a horizontal linear layout here, and inside this linear layout we are going to create two more layouts to show the home and away country on one side and the time on the other side. Okay, so here I'll create a new linear layout here again, and this time for the width I'll pass here 0 dp, and then for the height I'll pass here as wrap content, and for the weight I'll pass 1 here, and then for the orientation I'll pass here vertical. Okay, so inside this linear layout we'll show the home country and the away country. So at first we'll add a new linear layout here as horizontal. So for the width I'll pass here as let's say match parent. For the height I'll pass wrap content here. Then for the orientation I'll pass horizontal, and let's give this a padding of 8 dp here, 8 dp, and we can also set its gravity to center vertical. Okay, then inside this linear layout I'm going to create a new image view, image view. Okay, and here for the width of that image view I'll pass here 50 dp, and for the height let's pass somewhere around 30 dp. Okay, all right, let's close this tag and let's give this image view an id. We'll need that. So for the id I'll pass this as image view underscore let's say home, because this is for the home country layout. So here is the image view, and right after this image view I'll show a text view also for the country name. So I'll write text view. The width here will be match parent and the height will be wrap content here. Let's close this tag, and above here I'll pass an id for this text view. I'll call this as text view underscore home. Okay, and let's set a dummy text here. I'll write it as home, and then I'll set a text color here for, let's say, color white here. Then I'll write a text size, let's pass 20 sp here, and then for the padding of this text I'll pass 8 dp here. Okay, so now to give a gap between the flag and the name, we can pass a margin start of 8 dp here. Okay, now similarly I'll just copy this linear layout from here. Okay, and I'll copy this again for the away country. So I'll paste it right under this, as you can see, and this time I'll change the id of this image view to image view away, and for the home also text view away. Okay, this is the away. All right, so we got our home and away layout. Now right after this linear layout we have to create separate layout for the date and time of the match. So here at first I'll minimize these two linear layouts. So this is the containing layout here, and right after minimizing this layout, so here right after this linear layout I'll create a separate layout for showing the time and date of the match. So here for the linear layout I'll take its let's say take its width as wrap content here, and for its height I also pass the wrap content. Okay, let's close this linear layout tag here. Also for the orientation of this layout we can pass vertical. Okay, and also we can set a gravity for this. So let's keep it as center vertical. Okay, so now inside this linear layout we'll create a new text view, and here for the width of this text view I'll pass match parent. For the height I'll pass here wrap content. Okay, let's close this text view here, and I'll give this text view an id. I'll call this as text view underscore time. Okay, let's set the text here as time. Let's change the text size to 20 sp. Also let's change the text color to color white. Then we can also give this a let's give this a padding of 8 dp. All right, and I'll set the text alignment here to the text end, and to keep a gap in between these, I'll give this a margin start of let's say 16 dp. All right, so let's minimize this linear layout also. So this contains under this linear layout, so I'll minimize the parent linear layout also. And here right after this linear layout, I'll create two text views to show the match title and the season name. So I'll write text view, let's set this width to match parent and height to wrap content here. This time let's close this tag. I'll give this text view an ID. I'll call this as let's say text view underscore match. Okay, and then let's say the text here, I'll call this as match name. And then let's set a text color to color white here this time. I'll also change the text alignment to be centered this time. Then I'll also change the text size to be 20 sp again. You can change it to any size that you want. And then let's change the text style to be bold this time. Okay, I'll also give this a padding of 8 dp. All right, and then right under this we can copy this text view again and paste it under that, and here I'll just remove this id because we won't need that. We'll just show a static text here which we'll call the let's say FIFA World Cup 2022. Okay, so this is our layout, and now we can use that inside our adapter. So for this I'll go to the fixture adapter right here, and here inside this view holder class we'll initialize all the views that we created in the custom layout. So inside the list fixture, at first we have this image view for the home. So I'll copy this id, go there and create a new image view object. I'll just paste the id here, and similarly for the text view home, I'll copy the id and I'll create a new text view object here and I'll paste that. Let me zoom in here a bit. Okay, and then we have the away options also. So the away image view is image view away. I'll copy this and I'll create a separate object for that right beside this image view home. Okay, and for the text view away, I'll copy this and I'll just paste it right here. Okay, and then we have another text view to show the match time. So I'll copy the id text view underscore time. I'll paste it right after this, and then we have another for the match title. So I'll just copy the text view underscore match and I'll create another object for that. Okay, so now we have to initialize all the values inside the constructor. So let's start from the image view home. Copy this, paste it here, equals item view dot find view by id r dot id dot the id. So it's showing an error. We have to press alt enter. Error is solved. So now let's copy this few more times. 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, 5 more times. 1 2 3 4 5. And then copy the image view away, paste it here, paste it here. Text view home, copy, paste here, text view away, copy, paste here, text view time, copy, paste here, text view match, copy, paste here and paste here. Okay, so our views have been initialized, and now we can pass this fixture view holder to the parameter, sorry, not in the parameter, because we are going to extend the default recycler views adapter here, and we need the custom view holder for that. So I'll write recycler view dot adapter, and here in the parameter of the adapter we have to pass the view holder. So we copy the custom view holder that we created and paste it here, it will show some error because we need to implement some methods. So we'll click on the implement methods here, and we'll select all these three methods and click on OK. So here we got the three methods and our error is now gone. So at first we'll create some values for our adapter. Like at first we'll create a context object. Okay, and then we need a list of the fixtures. So I'll write list of fixture data. Okay, and we'll call this as list. And okay, we won't need any click listener here, so we'll just keep these two and we'll generate a constructor containing these two. So I'll just right click on the empty space and click on generate constructor, and I'll select these two both and click on OK. So here we got the constructor. So now let's start working inside these three methods. At first, in the onCreateViewHolder, instead of returning null, we'll return new fixture view holder. I'll pass the layout inflator dot from. I'll pass the context dot inflate r dot layout dot. We have to pass the layout that we created for the list of fixture. So we made this as list underscore fixture. Then the second parameter is the parent that we got from here. So let parent, and the third one is false. Okay, so here is our onCreateViewHolder method. Now inside the onBindViewHolder, we'll show the images of the home and away team. But before that, let's complete this get item count here. So here, instead of returning 0, we'll return the size of the list. So I write list dot size. Okay, so here in the onBindViewHolder, we'll show the flags of the home and away country. Okay, so here for this, if we open our Postman where I got the response, if we expand the data, here as you can see, we have only got the country name, the home name England, the away name Iran. We don't have any URL for the uh, image of the flag. Okay, but we can easily get the image of a country by its name. There is a free API for that. So let's see the API here. As you can see, I have opened here somewhere this one, the country flags API. Okay, so this API provides the image URL for a particular country. We can query this with the country code or country name, etc. So here in the examples, as you can see, the countryflagsAPI.com/png/Brazil. So we can pass the whole country name with the URL, and it will return us the image of that particular country. Okay, so we'll use that with Picasso. So let's go to Android Studio at first. Okay, and here we'll call the picasso.get.load, and here for the URL of the image, at first we'll call the API. So let's go to our Chrome, and from here I'll copy the URL till this png/part. Okay, so I'll copy this and I'll get back to Android Studio, and here inside a quotation I'll just paste that, and right after the PNG we'll pass the country name. So the first one is for the home country, and the parameter name for the home country is home name. Okay, so let's do that, and we have to make this lowercase. Okay, so here I'll write actually at first let's take the um, item in a separate object. Okay, so for this here I'll write final fixture data. I'll call this as data equals list dot get from position. Okay, so now we got the data here, and here I write data dot home name. dot two lowercase. Okay, so here we got the two lowercase. Let's end this with a semicolon. So I guess that will now show the flag properly. And similarly, let's copy this line again, and this time we'll show the away name. Okay, and here we have defined the URL of the images. We have to also pass the view where we want to show the images. So right after the load, we'll write another method dot into, sorry, not here, dot into, and inside here we'll pass the image view. So I'll write holder dot image view home, as this is for the home name, and similarly the next one dot into holder dot image view away. All right, so our image views are now done. So now in the new line we'll show the country names. So here at first I'll write holder dot text view home dot set text, and here I'll pass the data dot home name. Okay, and similarly for the away team, holder dot text view away dot set text data dot away name. All right, so if we go back to the API response, here we have the season name. We have kept this season name as static. You can also populate the season name from here also. So we got the host name, and now we need this date and time. Okay, so we have to show that. We can also show the status, etc. also. You can customize this app as you want. Okay, we'll make a full-fledged football app before the FIFA World Cup. Okay, so right now let's show the date of the match. Okay, all right, so we'll do that. So let's get back to the Android Studio here, and here right before showing the date, let's show the match title here. So I'll write holder dot text view match dot set text, and here at first I'll pass the data dot home name. Okay, got the data dot home name, and we'll add versus, and then we'll pass data dot away name. Okay, so that will show the match title here quite easily, and then we have to show the match time here inside another text view. So for this we have to format the time. As you can see inside the JSON, the time is given in a particular format, but we can't show this directly to the user. We have to format that. So let's do that. So for this, at first I'll create a new simple date formatter. So I'll create an object of simple date format. I'll call this as date format equals new simple date format, and here for the pattern I'll pass like the weekday, then the date and the month name. Okay, so for this, at first we'll show the weekday with three words, sorry, three alphabets. So I'll take 3E here for the weekday, and then we'll add a comma, and then we'll show the day of the month, and then we'll show the month name in three alphabet. So I'll write MMM. Okay, let's put a semicolon at the end, and then we'll also show the time of the match. So for this I'll create another simple date format object. I'll call this as time format equals new simple date format, and then for the time we'll just show this as the hour, minute, and the AM or PM. So for the hour I'll write hour colon minute and then for the AM or PM status I'll write A. Okay, let's end this here. And then we need to parse the time from the given string. Okay, from this. So for this I have to create another simple date format object. So I write simple date format. I'll call this as given format equals new simple date format. And as you can see, the given date format is the year, month, day, then hour, minute, and second. Okay, so let's write this as the format: the year dash month dash day, and then there was a space and the hour, minute, second. Okay, so a space, hour, sorry, hour in 24 hours format, that was hour, minute, and second. Okay, so that is the given format, and now we have to reformat that with this given date and time. So let's do that here. We'll take a new date object, date equals given format dot parse, and here we have to pass the time that returned from the API. So here I'll write data dot date. Okay, let's put a semicolon at the end, and as you can see, it's showing an error here. Maybe it's required to pass a try catch. Yes, surround with try catch. Okay, so it's now inside the try block here, and now we can parse the date object into these two formats and show inside the text view. Okay, so let's quickly do that. So here I'll call the holder dot text view time dot set text here, and here at first we'll call the, let's say, date format dot format, and here I'll pass the date here. Okay, and then I'll take a new line here, and in the new line I'll show the time. So I'll call the time format dot format, and here I'll pass the date. Okay, so that will show the date of the match in a formatted manner. Okay, so that's it for the adapter. Now we can go back to our main activity here, and here right inside the date fetch method, right after the dialog dismiss, we can populate our response data into our recycler view. So for this, here at first we have to call the recycler view dot set as fixed size to true. Make sure you initialize this recycler view before inside the onCreate method, otherwise you have to initialize it here. Okay, so recycler view dot set as fixed size true, and then I'll set the layout manager. So recycler view dot set layout manager, new let's say linear layout manager, and at first we have to pass the context, and then we have to pass the orientation. So linear layout manager dot vertical, and the third one is the attach reverse layout, which is false. And here, as you can see, inside the context it's showing error, because let's directly pass the main activity dot this. Okay, now it's good. So now after this layout setting, we have to pass the adapter to the recycler view. So let's create a adapter object. So the adapter we created is named as fixture adapter. So I'll write fixture adapter. I'll call this as adapter equals new fixture adapter, and here the first parameter is the context, the second one is a list of fixture data. So for the context, again I'll pass main activity dot this, and then for the list we'll get that from this response. So I'll write response dot data. Okay, add a semicolon at the end. Okay, and then we can add this adapter or attach this adapter to our recycler view. So I let recycler view dot set adapter, and then pass this adapter right here. Okay, so that's it for our application. I hope it will work. But before that, we have to add the internet permission here. Most of the time we forget to add that. So I'll add here users permission android.permission.internet. Okay, so make sure you add this internet permission in your manifest file. Otherwise, you may see some error here. Okay, so now we will install the app on our device and we will see if it works or not. Let's click on install. Alright, so our app is not working, it's showing an error. That's a silly mistake because we forgot to add the header files inside our request manager. So let's get back to our request manager here. And here we'll go all the way down to this call fixture interface. And here right after this get method, we need to pass the header files. Okay, as you can see inside the Postman, we had to pass these headers. So let's do that. So to pass that, I'll add the header annotation. Let's pass the headers because we have multiple header objects. So inside the headers, at first I'll write except colon and then I'll pass application slash JSON. Okay, all right. And then in the new line we'll pass the other two headers that we need. The first one is the X rapid API key, so I'll just copy this from here, get back to Android Studio, and here I'll paste that, and after a colon I'll pass the value of this X rapid API key, which is this one, the API key. So I'll copy that, get back to Android Studio, and I'll paste it here. And then finally for the third parameter, we have this X rapid API host. So I'll copy this again and I'll paste it right here. After a after a colon, I'll just paste the value of that. Copy this again and paste it here. Okay, so that's it for our headers. So now if we run our app, it should work fine. So let's try to see that. Let's run our application. As you can see, it says loading, and here it got all the fixture of all the matches of the FIFA World Cup. Okay, as you can see. So that's it. That's how we can make a fixture application of the upcoming FIFA World Cup 2022. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and don't forget to participate in the giveaway contest by Geeks for Geeks and Coding with Ivan. Hope to see you in the next week. Thank you so much for watching.